Today, I'm going to be talking about a very real and hard thing that most people go through multiple times in life, and that's giving up on your ambitions. It's happened to me quite a few times, and I'm going to talk about how I've overcome it and how you can overcome it eventually yourself. My personal experience with this is not too dissimilar to other people who've had kind of a same experience, especially if you're involved in high school sports or even anything like collegiate or anything. I was a basketball player in high school, and I absolutely loved basketball. It was my everything. I had trained for years and years and years. It was my passion. I was so excited every day to be able to play it, to be able to have fun and just try to improve gradually every single day. And over the years, I get better, I get placed with better people, and, I have to overcome a new set of problems. I have to try to get better than these people. I need to try to one up more people. I have to get better and better and better. And that's what my whole life revolved around. It was just school, basketball. And I loved it. It was fun. It was exciting. It was engaging. It was everything that I needed. And it was fun. And that's all it was. And then eventually things get really hard. And then you have to start to make a decision at some points. That decision for me happened to be giving up on basketball. I was in college and, I was on a team and things just started to stop working. I wasn't getting the attention I thought I deserved or I needed to start to move on to that next level. And honestly, this is something I had been training for years and years and years. It had been, you know, almost 12 years of my entire life. And honestly, I felt like I was being done a disservice. I wasn't being treated how I thought I should be. I wasn't being seen how I thought I should be seen. And it was devastating. It was heartbreaking. It was one of the worst things I've ever had to go through. And I was stricken with grief. It was horrible. And I didn't know how to deal with it. So for months, I would kind of just be toiling and drudging through classes and just, trying to figure out, okay, what's next? Now what? But after you've done one thing for so long, for so many years, thinking and expecting a certain outcome, and, that outcome's just not feasible anymore, it's hard to see anything else but that future for yourself. And, for lack of a better term, it's devastating. There's almost nothing you can do. You have no control over it. And for months, I just toiled and toiled. I didn't know what to do. I would go to classes. I would, just kind of be lost. I would eat like crap. I stopped going to the gym. And I wasn't feeling good. And that's just one of the experiences I had. And it was hard. It was probably one of the worst things that had ever happened to me up to that point. And another thing that had happened way later is I got into real estate. After that, I had moved on and I got into real estate. And, I was kind of perceiving a certain image of how real estate was going to be, how I was going to take it, what I was going to do. And, expectation and reality are, usually kind of different, especially when discussing and trying something new. It's never usually what you want it to be. And unfortunately for real estate, that was the case for me. Expectation did not meet reality. I didn't foresee what real estate was going to be like. I had no connections. So for a few months, I got my license. After I got my license, then I proceeded to find a team. After I was trying to build my real estate team on my own, not a team, real estate business on my own, I realized, man, I don't know if I can do this. I don't think I'm doing this right. I don't know what I'm doing. And that was hard. That was rough. I had to get a team. I got a team. I got a great mentor. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I don't like real estate. Maybe I just like real estate investment. So that's what I did. I bought a property, I fixed it up. And again, one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through. I had to learn so much in such a short amount of time, and it was hard. It was probably one of the worst things ever. It was, I had a lot of help, but it was one of the most immensely difficult things I've ever had to experience. There's nothing wrong with that. I learned a lot. I took a lot of value, but my God, it did not live up to the reality I had given to it. And eventually, my girlfriend at some point during this started a business, her first solo business. And she was pushing, she was growing, she was having fun, and I was so jealous. I was so jealous. She was progressing in somewhere I hadn't progressed in such a long time, not just monetarily, but passionately. She got to chase something that I hadn't seen in years, and that is passion. It's heartbreaking for me to see that and for me to be unhappy every single day. And I'm like, man, what am I doing? Like, what is the point? If you don't like this, what's the point of you even doing this? Again, devastating situation. And, I wasn't angry. I was envious. I'm big enough to admit that. But I wasn't angry. I was just more disappointed. I'm like, another thing that didn't work out. And I had to give up, and I had to start over again and again and again. And that was hard. Another hard pill to swallow. But eventually you learn how to move on from these things. And today I'm going to talk about what helped me in particular be able to move on effectively and efficiently. Number one, on how to overcome giving up your ambitions. I know people are like, just chase your dreams forever, but honestly, for most people, it's not realistic, nor should you do it. There's so much more to life than to chase a dream you don't even love anymore, to chase an idea of something that doesn't even exist. There's more to life. And today I'm going to talk to those realists. Not realists in the point where, oh, I'm giving up because I can't do it anymore. The people who understand this is probably not where they need to be to get to where they want. I'm talking to those people. Number one piece of advice for you is to leave it all on the table. Everything you do it with intention, do it with intensity. The thing that keeps most people up at night is thinking, could I have done more? Could I have done better? Could I have done something differently to get a better outcome? Could I this? Could I that? That's what keeps people up at night. That's what keeps people sad. That's what keeps people with a gnawing feeling in the middle of the night, maybe even sometimes crying, that they could have done something else. So my one piece of advice to those people, do not let that be you. That should not be you. Don't think like that. If you even have a little bit of an idea that that's how you feel, then give everything you have. You have to leave with no regrets in order to be okay with letting go. It sounds silly, but it's real. You have to give everything, every fiber of my being. With basketball, with real estate, I gave everything I had. I don't think about those anymore. It's hard. It doesn't get any easier to accept it. But it's gone. I did everything I could, and I wouldn't do anything differently next time. That's the one piece of solace you can gain. To be able to leave everything on the table and not have any regrets about it. Next, reflect on what you gained. For real estate and basketball, I learned two very different lessons. For real estate, I learned about, can you guess, real estate. I now know what goes into buying a home. I now know what's necessary. I now know what I need to know for any future projects or endeavors I choose to take. I know what's necessary. I know who needs to be there. I know what a house has to look like. I can understand and judge value correctly and accurately. Every market's different, but I know my market well, and this is where I want to stay. So that is one thing that I was able to take away from in real estate. Real estate was a big part of my life for a while. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot of valuable lessons. I wouldn't trade those lessons in for anything. I now know how to run a CRM. I know what an inside sales associate is, what they do, how to manage a team. I know how to correctly assess an investment, especially when it comes to land-based. A land-based investment, I can correctly assess it. That's huge. From basketball, I learned a different lesson. I understand what hard work feels like. This is not dissimilar to other people. Other people have gone to school and had to, unfortunately choose outside their major because it's just not supporting what they wanted or it's not what they thought it was. My friend personally, he wants to tow boats, but his CDL doesn't apply to that. So the year he spent or two that he spent getting upgrades, learning everything he had to, he's going to have to let that go. Or even that person who started a business a long time ago and now they have a kid on the way. They have to get a house. They have to upgrade their rooms. All those hard, difficult decisions need to be made. And to be made is a very tough thing. You don't know if that's the right choice. But life happens. I'm understanding of that. So you need to understand what you've gained. What I gained from basketball and what those people gain from school and business is that you know what it's like to work hard. You know what it's like to work so hard, to work so diligently, to give everything you have that it just doesn't, you don't know how you're going to overcome this. And yet you do. You know more about finance. You know more about medicine. You know more about trucking than anyone else. And you're going to carry that. You're going to carry that with you. No one's going to take that away from you, except maybe dementia. No one's going to take that away from you. You've learned things. You've met people. You've heard things. You now have a different perspective on life, and that's what you've gained. Don't think that just because something didn't work out, you didn't gain anything from it. That's not true. Is that rarely ever the case. The only time you never gain something is if you never tried to learn. That is the reality of it. If you never tried to learn and you didn't retain any knowledge, then you really did fail. It's harsh, but it's true. Next, the last thing I'm going to recommend. People need to grieve. Don't ignore it. It happened. It was rough. It will happen again. You need to be in that feeling. Do not stay there forever, but you need to feel those feelings of grief. Because if you don't grieve and you just let it go like nothing happened, how much did you really love it? How much did you really try? How much did you really put in? I'm going to question your work ethic every time. I'm going to question how much you put into it, how much you claimed to love it, and then how you reacted when it was actually gone. I'm going to question you. I'm not going to berate you, but I will question your drive, your motivation, your feelings for what you did or what you claim to have loved. You need to grieve. You need to feel that feeling. And you can't run from it. You can't hide from it. You can't ignore it. That feeling is real. That feeling is prevalent. That feeling is natural. And you got to feel it. There will be no worse feeling than that. And that's okay. Feel it, get it out, and then dream again. Move on. Something else will happen. You're going to find another passion. You're going to find another love. You're going to find something else that pushes you to keep going. That's what you're going to do. And that is what you need to do. If you stop dreaming, you're so traumatized that you stop dreaming, then you have failed. You will never dream again. You will never be fully happy. You have to dream again. You need to pursue something. You have to feel that excitement that you once felt again. You have to. You don't have a choice. It's going to happen anyway. You're going to see something. You're going to have an idea, and you need to have the gall to chase it. If you don't, you have failed. You have failed everyone around you, and you have failed, more importantly, yourself, to never allow yourself to feel happy or feel the sense of possibility again. You need to feel these things. You need to go through these emotions, and you need to understand it's okay to dream again. It's okay to try again. More importantly, it's okay to fail again. Give it everything. Learn everything you can, accept the feelings that come, try something new. Life is way too short for you to let people dictate how you perceive the world, how you feel about the world, and life is too short for you to let life beat you down to never let you back up again. You have to learn, you have to move on, but more importantly, you have to dream again. That's pretty much it. If you like what you saw, subscribe. Thanks.